swords.
Take this time to consider your past deeds.
Stop asking questions. You had your chance. Let the games begin.
Greetings, Visionaries. Welcome to Velen's Chosen. We're ready to buff your game. We exist to help budget players stay competitive on the ladder and end each season a bit higher than last, no matter what your card pool. However, we're branching out. Today, joining me, we have Evemartyn.
Hello.
Per usual, and we have our one and only Andrew Brown.
That's me.
And today,
if there was any confusion.
And today we're gonna be doing some of this.
The gates are open.
By covering the arena. So we pride ourselves by using our first 18 episodes by basically emphasizing the importance of ladder play, constructed, and working on your card collection. But today we're going to be kind of covering what we can expect to teach you if you're kind of like baseline, brand new to Hearthstone's arena feature.
Well, I think it still ties in because this is the best way to get gold, right? Like if you get good at arena,
If you get good at it.
yeah. Then this is the best way for you to farm gold and increase your collection. So it comes back around.
Absolutely.
And this sparked because we had Cora last week from Vicious Syndicate Gaming and CoinKitsy Podcast as a 16, 17 times legend player, basically saying that she got all of the last 2 adventures by using arena gold. So as college students, people really like to get good at arena because they don't have to spend that much money in the game. And for those of you more budget savvy, we figured this would be a good episode. We're not claiming to be experts, so this is our disclaimer moment. We're not experts at the arena. We do what we can, and we're a little bit better than average. So these are tips designed for newer or lower intermediate players to get their arena keys from 0 to 3 up to that 4 to 7 range.
Mm-hmm.
What's the highest you've gotten, Rob?
I actually just did a stream last night at NotRobMay on Twitch, and I got 10 wins.
Nice.
Wow. That is
So
impressive.
that's the highest I've ever done. And the time before that, I had a nuts Paladin deck in TGT that I hit 9 wins with.
What about you,
That's
Andrew?
not bad. I honestly can't remember. It was either 10 or 11. Haven't hit 12 yet.
I've hit
but
11.
Oh, you have? Dang. That's impressive.
You've hit 11? What?
Yeah.
That's
Very
bonkers.
good.
Disclaimer, like this is what I think the reason is. I was trying to help my husband get more cards, and I played on his account, and he's like a complete noob player. So I think his MMR was way low.
I found that to be true on my EU account too, because I hit like 5 wins first time in arena.
Yes.
I was like, yeah, my MMR is definitely helping me out in these first 3 games.
I did like
So,
apologize to him. I'm like, I probably really changed your MMR rating now. But yeah, I did get up to 11
Sorry.
wins.
Okay, so we're going to break up the show into 3 main categories, and we're trying to get out of here in an hour so you guys can enjoy the rest of your days. So the first part of the show, we're going to pass off to Andrew, is going to be mainly drafting. So how do you draft cards? How do you
drafting.
select classes? Why do you choose bad cards? Why do you choose seemingly bad cards, seemingly good cards, being different valuations in arena, etc. Second segment, we're going to be talking about gameplay. And Eve has found a really great resource that we're probably going to put in the show notes for you. And we'll talk about a couple other resources as well. And then we're going to go to the community section where it's all about emails and iTunes reviews and just saying thank you to our Patreon supporters, etc. And then we'll close out the show by letting you know where you can find us, and stay tuned for that blooper reel. So without further ado, Andrew, let's jump into drafting.
Yeah. Right before we jump into it too fast, I mean, I just want to reiterate what you said earlier, that the reason we're going over Arena is that for the budget player, there's no better investment than getting good at Arena to increase your card pool. And yeah, you can go back, listen to Cora to get the, her experience on that. But I want you to really internalize that if there's any part of you that says, I wish I had more cards, but I don't have the money, then it's really important that you get good at Arena. So we're going to talk about things that have helped us, things that are in the forefront of our minds, and And hopefully there's going to be something in here that's helpful for you because, these are the tips that have helped us along the way at least. So
Right. See Core for the deets.
That's right. Core got them deets on lock. So obviously nothing.
Bloopers before we even start. That's what I'm talking about.
Sometimes you got to get them. So I would argue that there may be no greater important thing than drafting, because if you don't know what you're doing with drafting, you could have just an awful deck, and you can't do much with an awful deck in Arena. So as far as what you need to be aware of when you're drafting, I'm going to start out by saying you probably need to have a different mindset than what you naturally think of. Because I remember when I first started, I thought that cards were important that weren't. I looked at things like Voodoo Doctor and thought, oh, I can restore health? Of course I want that. When in fact, that card's one of the bottom of the barrel cards, really. So we're going to go over from our experiences which cards have helped us the most and which ones you really need to steer towards. So the first thing I'm going to say is that minions are king in the arena. So we'll talk a lot about trading. We'll talk about what that looks like. But choosing the right minions is absolutely paramount. And as far as curve is concerned, you want a lot of, or you want to spread out the mana cost of your minions. So if you have a deck that's completely filled with 1-drop minions, you're going to have a very strong early game, but if the game progresses into turn 7, turn 8, you're going to have an empty hand and you're going to be really frustrated. Whereas the opposite, if you have a ton of really late game minions, you're going to get smashed before turn 5 even hits. So you want to, when we say curve, we say you generally want that 2 to 4 range. You want more minions in that. You want to have some really strong late game and some really strong early game as well.
So let's start at the bottom of the curve then. Like, what's the importance of drafting a 1-drop in Arena? Well, maybe we can even back up before that, right? We can probably even back up into the mentality shift while drafting, not just saying minions are better than spells, because that's not always true. And then secondly, we have the main focus of first 10 card mentality, right? Mm-hmm. And then maybe transitioning after 10 to 15 cards and then changing your mentality of what cards you actually need to fill.
Absolutely. I think it was Trump that I read when I was first learning Arena, where he said that the first 10 cards, you just want to pick the strongest cards.
Oh yeah.
That's where it really doesn't matter your curve that much. You just want to choose cards that are going to be helpful for any deck. And then after those 10 cards, you kind of start to see what your deck is becoming. Is it going to be an aggro-heavy deck? Is it going to be a control-heavy deck? A mech deck, yeah, exactly. And then from there, you can really make decisions about how to start smoothing out. And then those last 10 cards, you're really looking at the holes. Oh, I don't have a single 4-drop. If there's a 4-drop that's even average, I probably need to value that higher than a North Sea Kraken or something that, because I've got my late game figured out. So that's kind of what you're looking at as far as progression as you're drafting your deck.
Another, as I'll interject again,
sure.
I think Eve brought up the importance of this early on in our show when we're talking about the differences between tempo and value plays. Eve, can you kind of just basically let our listeners know what we're going for in Arena? Are we going for tempo, or are we going for the value of this mana cost?
Well, for Arena, as far as I understand it, tempo is hugely important. If you get behind in tempo, you may never catch up, and you may have lost the game in the first couple of turns. Unless you have an amazing way to swing the game around in your favor, you really need those 1-drop cards, those 2-drop cards, those 3-drop cards. In mulligans, you don't want to be picking the higher cards. You want to go as much as you can to mulligan
1, 2, 3
aggressively for that early start. Yeah,
that's right. I think I even heard somebody say once that if you don't have a 3 card, if you don't have the correct turn 3 play,
you almost literally lose Arena. Yeah.
You're almost guaranteed a loss, because that turn is so structural for what the foundation of the rest of the game is going to be.
Yeah, I mean, I've even watched the pros. Adwicta and Merps, shout out to their show called Lightforge, is a great resource on learning more about Arena, and they do tons of stuff. They got their own website called G Goat Gaming. Stands for the Grinning Goat. They have a tier list there you can use to evaluate cards and kind of a key at the bottom, and they're all broken up based off of class. But I heard Adwicta say, if you're playing against a mage and they have a 1-drop, say Leper Gnome, and then you answer that with your own Leper Gnome, and they use their ping and they keep the Leper Gnome on the board for themselves, hit you for 2, and they just clear yours. They've effectively said, I've got nothing to play on this turn that's better than removing your minion with my hero power. So they're lacking that developmental stage of the board, which effectively has given you the initiative now, and you actually can snowball that game out of control because they just used their hero power once. Like, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah,
it may just have been a misplay as well. Some people think it's better to use the hero power and conserve the cards. So that also could be a misplay, but yeah, like that, it's way more important to have bodies on the board.
Yeah, we understand that you sometimes get behind. So, like, that may be your only play.
Sure. Yeah. Reading your opponent is huge. It's more of an advanced play, so don't get too down on yourself if you're not sure or anything yet. Let's bring it back to drafting so we can, because we got a lot to cover here.
Getting off topic.
So again, you want to be able to have a pretty good curve. The things that you need to look out for when you're drafting and value really highly are, first of all, area of effect cards, or AoE. So those are things like Flame Strike, Holy Nova, Hellfire, anything that's going to clear your opponent's board. That can be a turning point for a game. And valuing when you play those cards is paramount to winning, I would say. What do you guys think about AoE cards? How do you value those?
Absolutely.
AoE cards, whether they be minion or not. Like, I just got wrecked last night by a rogue, but this morning I got destroyed on my priest because a paladin played, he played like Wild Pyromancer, coin, minion, and just wiped my board. I was like, okay, I lost now.
Yeah, because of the nature of Arena, you don't necessarily have any removal at all, like depending on what they give you, the options that you have. So when you have a chance for it, you take it, definitely.
And when you're playing Constructed, you expect them to have certain things that you have to play around. But during Arena, they may not have gotten anything. And in fact, I know I always gulp when I get to that 30th pick and I still don't have an AoE because I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to pull this off because it's that important that you get those.
Yeah.
But
so Consecrates, buddy.
Consecrates. That's right.
Strike, though.
One of the not so obvious ones I wanted to mention is Abomination. So there are some sneaky AoE effects. So Abomination deals 2 damage to all characters, and Abomination isn't a great card, but if you haven't gotten any AoE and it's you're at your 25th pick, I always snap pick an Abomination because that gives me something that can help me control the board in a dire circumstance. Can you guys think of any other sneaky ones that?
Well, we mentioned Wild Pyro.
That's true.
We
probably
have
to a smaller degree
Ghoul.
The Unstable Ghoul. Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yep, Unstable Ghoul. What was the other card I was thinking of that's a minion?
If you think Priest, well, then there's the epic, what is it? The Doomsayer?
Doomsayer.
Not very sneaky. That's pretty obvious.
Yeah, well, you don't necessarily get a chance to draft Doomsayer very often because it is that epic rarity. I'm trying to think of a LOE card. I mean, I drafted an Excavated Evil this week, and that was actually pretty good for me. Believe it or not, Excavated Evil has a very high value in Arena. If you're behind, that's when you want to play it. So.
The hard thing with it is that then you're giving your opponent an AoE, which in Constructed, it can go against however they're creating, but in Arena, it's so valuable that giving your opponent an AoE is hard to. But that's one of those things where you kind of have to just go with your gut and then learn from experience. If you go 0-3 with a deck like that because you never had, or because you always gave your opponent an Excavated Evil, okay, then I'm not going to use that card again. But if it was perfect for clenching the game, you got to learn to to go with what you learn, you know?
Oh, I remember the
So,
other card now.
that's
It's
really
called Dread
important.
Infernal. It's a Warlock card. That card is very high value for
Oh, yeah,
turn
yeah.
6. It's
Mhm.
amazing.
Oh, right. Yeah, it does 1
That's
damage.
good.
Yeah.
Warlock
That's
is
really
so
good.
good in
So-
Arena right now.
Yeah. So another thing you really want to value highly is card draw. So if you've played any amount of Arena, you've probably learned that sometimes you get, not too unoften, you get to a top deck war where you and your opponent are both just top decking and hoping for something to work out.
Whoever has the most cards wins.
Exactly. So
Pretty
your
much.
obvious things in that are going to be things like Arcane Intellect, Solemn Vigil, the draw more cards things. But Cult
Loot
Master
Hoarder.
is a huge card in Arena.
Mhm.
I always snap pick that as well. What are the other cards you guys look for card draw?
Loot Hoarder is a killer 2-drop.
That's
Just
good.
cycles itself. Acolyte
Mhm.
of Pain, I haven't seen much in Arena because it's just such a low value.
Sure.
But there's another higher value card, like Azure Drake. If you get a rare, that's pretty freaking good.
hmm
Northshire Cleric, if you're playing Priest, is crazy.
What is the 2/4 that gives you a card?
Gnomish Inventor, Gnomish Experimenter. I think Gnomish Inventor is the 1/1 draw a card for 2.
Yeah, so Gnomish Experimenter, whichever one that
it's
one
the
is.
2/4
yeah.
draw card.
At least has a decent amount of health.
It's not
Oh,
bad,
sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, you just want to, when you look at that, there's some, Novice Engineer is not going to be nearly as powerful. Don't let card draw be king, but just
Yeah.
be watching for it. And you got to think about things like if you're Warlock, you've got a guaranteed card draw right there. So you're going to devalue card draw because of that. But
there's
yeah.
another mechanic that's brand new to the game that's very powerful.
hello, that's right. Discover's going to be huge for any deck.
Exactly.
Dark Peddler, Ethereal Conjurer. I mean,
Tomb Spider.
yeah, that could give you exactly a card that you needed beforehand that you didn't know to ask for.
Yeah.
So
Your
definitely.
guaranteed 3rd drop or
Yeah.
3 mana drop card.
So some of the flat out good cards that you need to know: Piloted Treaders. I mean, a number 1 pick.
Haunted Creeper. So good.
Yes. Azure Drake gives you tempo, gives you a body on the board. Boulder Fist Ogre and North Sea Kraken are the highest, common, or even Obsidian Destroyer now for Warrior.
Oh man,
Is a really
that
good-
monkey.
And that monkey. What are your other snap picks? Just good all around cards that you guys like?
The Yetis
Yetis
Yes,
are
absolutely.
so good.
Absolutely.
Pit Fighter, amazing.
hmm
fighter. Yeah, I do see a lot of that. in
Really,
there.
just those vanilla cards. I mean, they
Yeah, as long
they
as they have
gain so
more
much
stats.
value.
Yeah, the
Mhm.
ones that don't have any special abilities, but they just got good, solid stats, are valuable in Arena. So a lot of cards that you may never look at for constructed on ladder
Yeah.
are very valuable in Arena.
Like
Absolutely.
Evil Heckler's really good in Arena.
Yeah.
Mm,
Taunt is
I always
good.
snap pick a Sunwalker every time I
yeah,
see it.
Sunwalker's pretty good too. The big effects that I wanted to warn you against are Taunt and Silence. I think those were the biggest things that I valued at the beginning of playing that I ended up learning aren't
Good.
as good. It's not like you see an Iron Beak Owl and think, "Oh, that sucks. Get away from that." But I think when I first started playing Arena, I thought, "Oh, I have to have a silence in order for the game to work," and you really don't. The same goes for Taunt. I mean, both of them can be helpful, especially in an aggro-heavy Arena meta like we have right now. Taunt's going to be good, but if you don't have Taunt, you can still easily win a game.
Mm-hmm.
Sludge Belcher.
Oh yeah, you want a Sludge Belcher too.
I had an
mean,
Arena
that's just-
run with 2 of those Sludge Belchers in my Priest deck and a Sunwalker, and Priest is just bad.
Yeah. So I guess my biggest thing is if you're struggling right now, it probably means that you need a different mindset. One of my favorite quotes in leadership from Craig Rochelle is that in order to get results that you haven't gotten before, you're going to have to do things that you've never done before. And that's so true for Arena. If you're struggling, it means that your mindset is going to have to change. You can't do the same things and think that it's going to work differently. So start watching, those pro streamers who are really good, like Adawikta and Amaz and people like that, and they're usually really good about explaining why they're choosing the cards that they are and stuff. One other quick thing I wanted to throw out is just thinking about cards differently also. So a card like Shattered Sun Cleric, on the surface, it's a 3-cost, 3/2 minion, so that doesn't look like a great value. But when you think about his Battlecry effect to add a +1/+1, really, if you add all of that together, Shattered Sun Cleric is a 4/3. And you can...
It has the 1/1 of that as an immediate effect on the board.
With the upside that you can basically trade up a lower cost minion, which is extremely valuable in Arena. We'll talk about that later. Yep. And things like Frostwolf Warlord, which you may see and think, oh man, if I have 6 minions on the board, that could be a 10/10 for 5. Well, yeah, it could. Huge. But also think about the adverse when you don't have any minions on the board. Frostwolf Warlord might be a 4/4 for 5, which is not good. So really consider what are the different, aspects of the cards and how can those play into your choosing.
Yeah, the different Arena things that I've read all say don't pick situational cards over cards with just solid
consistent
stats.
Cards.
That's really good. That's really good, Eve.
Yeah, consistency over niche, I guess you could say, right?
Mm-hmm.
Think about I think it was from the Angry Chicken. Garrett talked about this once. Was thinking about what a card asks of you, right? So Frostwolf Warlord asks that you have minions on board. It's not good on a empty board state. That's why Dr. Boom is so powerful. Whether you're ahead or you're behind, he's going to put stuff right there. Yeah. So, thinking through, okay, what's the worst case scenario for this card, and what are the chances I'm going to be able to get the value out of it that I want? Yep. Shattered Sun Cleric, you got a good chance you can play that card with 1 minion on the board to get the full value out of it.
So as kind of a synopsis of drafting, how do you evaluate removal cards and big cards? Like, basically, cards have more value when you take the attack and the defense or the health of the creature and you divide it in half, and that equals more than the mana cost of the minion. So, for instance, Force Tank Max is a 7/7 for 7.
Good card.
It's a good card, and so is, War Golem. But Force Tank Max is better because it gives you an additional Divine Shield, which basically gives it immune for 1 turn, and then it's 7/7 for the same cost. So for 8. I'm sorry, it's not for 7 mana, it's for 8. So it's still good. Capture Jormonger, it's a 5/8 or 5/9.
5/9.
And it's what?
Also a good
7
card.
mana? It's
7.
insane.
Yeah.
That's a lot of stats. Okay, the other thing you need to realize is spells can swing the whole game because the spells' function in Arena is to preserve minions and preserve your HP. So fireballs a lot of times are not used for lethal. A lot of times they're used to remove big creatures so that you can get more damage from your minions.
Because your 1 minion on the board is going to do a lot more damage over time than 1 fireball to the face. If you can keep it alive, it can keep hitting and keep hitting. Versus
that being said, you can hold it though. Yes.
Just to finish off the game, if you don't need to use that fireball, you can hold it until your win is assured.
Yep. Amaz likes to refer to big cards that are above 5 mana that have a good body. He calls them a fatty. He's like, we need a fatty. So
I love Amaz.
We're gonna pick the ogre, or we're gonna pick the kraken, and I remember him drafting a deck
even
where
the
he had
Archmage.
3 krakens. Yeah, Archmage is good.
Antonidas?
No. Archmage.
The one that gives you spell power?
Yeah, he's just like +1 spell power 4/7.
Okay.
6 mana 4/7. Yep.
Yeah,
because it's got a lot of health. It's got a lot of health, and you want to be able to trade up. So cards that have high health, if you think about it, you could kill 2 cards with that one, and that by definition is card advantage. So that's a preferable outcome right there.
So health in Arena is king?
You could say that. It depends if you're playing a weapon class, like Rogue and Warrior are kind of complicated to play, but right now Rogue is top tier.
I know we're throwing out a lot of different names and resources, but Trump talks about your health as a resource. Don't think about it as, I don't ever want to use my face. It's that you have 29 health to use effectively to gain you the advantage in the game. So think about it that way. And it's always a trade-off. It's always, you've got to balance things. But yeah, your health is there to help you, not to caution you, basically.
That's a very good point. It's a good way to look at it. It's hard when you're facing something like a mage, because in your head you're like, I'm getting myself down to the point where they could finish me off with one spell to the face.
Yeah, and you gotta be careful.
You also have to take risks in the game, and in Arena, it is kind of safer to take risks because there could be a chance that he doesn't have any spells. He had a bad arena draw. He's got no fireballs. He's got one, and he used it already.
We'll definitely get into that when we dive into play. The last thing we'll mention is we mentioned spells, AoE, fatty creatures, the importance of the 1-drop and the 2, 3, 4 start. The hardest part is realizing in your draft synergies and combination plays. So, for instance, I played against a rogue on my very first game, so I was 0-0, and this rogue was absolutely nuts. He played a Dragonling mechanic, which summons a 2/1 mech, and then plays a mech warper, or I'm sorry, what's that card called? Yeah, a gorilla bot. So he gets to discover a mech based off of a non-mech card that develops a mech.
Wow.
And then after
that,
he got an Enhancer Mechano from that mech on a almost full board, and then was able to have a taunt down, so I couldn't hit it. And guess what card that was a mech that he played? It was the Patient Iron Sensei.
The Iron
card
Sensei
that buffs your cards.
That's when I started watching you, actually.
It was the worst game I have ever played, but my chat was just like, that guy's going 12 wins. Like, that deck is crazy. So you got to think about those mech synergies. I will say that there are some that are more common. Obviously, with the inclusion of Tomb Spider and what Blizzard has released as saying all arena cards from League of Explorers have a 50% increase to appear in your draft at any time.
But there is a cutoff date for that, right? Like that's
when the next
cutoff day is
when the next
expansion.
Yeah.
Seriously?
So that's how they've rolled it out every time. Like League of Explorers was a 3 times multiplier.
I think it's great because it creates a new meta whenever new content.
It's their way of
is released.
changing how arenas play.
That's true. I just assumed that would be for a certain amount of time, and then it would go back to regular. But that's interesting to know. Okay.
Yeah. So you're gonna see, like, I'm gonna be seeing a museum curator more than I will see a dark cultist or a holy champion. However, sometimes an algorithm that says 50% more often doesn't always mean that that's completely like your deck's going to be filled with LOE cards, because you can frankly ignore them, or you can just, sometimes the bad luck or the good luck, depending on how you look at it, they don't show up. Like I drafted 3 holy champions last night, so.
I honestly get Sylvanas out of that dark cultist so often. Or not, the excavator.
Museum curator?
Yeah. Sorry. Museum curator. Yeah, I see Sylvanas out of that thing so often.
Yeah. It's a good
I see Major Domo for some reason, and I don't like that. But anyway.
I get the Sky Golem a lot.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
So,
lots of good stuff there.
There are a lot of good Death Rattle minions.
Yep, and speaking of Death Rattle, that's the last thing you want to look for, is Death Rattle minions that are sticky. So sticky minions are good, not just because they have a big body, but because they develop another one. So Shredder, Sky Golem, Harvest Golem, etc.
And that's why Shredder is so strong. When he gets killed, something else is going to take his place. And worst case, you're looking at a Novice Engineer, but best case, you're looking at Millhouse. Yeah, I guess Doomsayer is even worse. But so there's a lot of really upside stuff you got to consider for that.
All right, so let's name off a couple people and resources that will basically be referencing the rest of the show now before we transition, because we've only been going 20-25 minutes, so we got plenty of time to close out the show. So I will say Lightforge, Adwicta, or AW, or it's ADWTCA, and MERPS, MERPS. Those guys stream, and they have a Lightforge podcast. We mentioned Amaz of owner and player on Team Archon. Yeah. Who else? We got Masan from
Well, I just want to throw out there real quick. I found out that Adewikta actually has an Arena Academy on YouTube, and it's basically like a kind of a lightning style. Here's some different situations that we encountered while playing. It's mostly minion situations, but there's some drafting in there also. So it's almost like a puzzle. Like, what would you do in this situation? So it's really good, and they're really good about explaining. Man, here's what we're thinking about. Here's why we're concerned. So it's a really good tool to use to get better.
They also have been putting out some other videos lately that are just like, this is why you do this always, or this is why you always play around this card because it's so common. And then they're like, or if you have this card in your deck, you don't always play it, and this is a prime example as to why. Yeah. So he has like those type of little clips all smashed into like a compilation video.
That's good.
Awesome. I'm gonna have to check this out. That sounds really interesting.
Other people that are good is Cora. Turn into her stream. She's good.
Yep. I was actually listening to Coin Concede, and she was saying that she's going to try Amaz's challenge, which was 10 drafts, 100 wins or something. Yeah. And so, man, if there's somebody who can do that, I bet it's her. So I'm excited to see that.
Amaz is really close. I think the first time he did it, he was super close. I think he got... No, I can't remember. I watched this stream a couple times, but he's pretty cool. Another person who's actually really good at Arena is Hafu, Hafu.
Oh, yeah.
I used to watch her all the time.
She is amazing streamer.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of the time she does explain and talk through her draft picks as well, so that's very helpful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And why she makes different plays. Why she holds on to things. And you guys did mention a couple of times Trump. He's just like good all over for new players to just give a lot of knowledge. He's got a lot of knowledge about Hearthstone.
Absolutely.
Check out his stuff.
Yep. So Trump and Crip. All right. And then we obviously mentioned tier scores. So there is still that Overwolf thing from when Adwicta and Merps were a part of Hearth Arena. So Hearth Arena is a good tool if you still want to try that. And then Adwicta and Merps have ggoatgaming.com or the Golden Goat, or the Grinning Goat, sorry. And they have like their tier scores there.
It was very humbling to use their guide for the first time because I'd go in Arena and I'd go, okay, this is the card that I would pick, and then go and see what they would pick and be like, never pick in Arena, ever. Like, damn, that's old.
But again, that's so common. So if you're at a place where you're 0-3 or 1-3 every time you do Arena, don't look down on yourself. You just got some learning to do, and that's going to take some time. But I've been there, Eve's been there, Rob's been there. It takes consistency. It takes intentionality to say, I need to get better at this, so I'm going to work on it.
Yep. Okay. Any other tips? No, we're transitioning. Okay. Let's go into how to play in the arena, stuff to pay attention to, stuff to avoid, etc.
Yeah.
So one of the things about new players is that you don't own all the cards. So you may not even know what all the cards do and how to play them and how to synergize them. So Arena is one of those great ways to get to know all the cards, to play cards that you don't have in your own collection. But you could also be drafting cards and reading them and seeing them for the first time if you don't have a full card collection. So that is very important when playing Arena, is to get to know all the cards and their value and what they do.
Definitely a good place to start.
Absolutely.
And like we said before, the value of cards in Arena is different than it is in Constructed, simply because you cannot depend on the other person to have all these different cards that they would naturally auto-include in a Constructed deck. So certain cards that would be like, oh, that would get removed right away, or that wouldn't stay on the board long enough to have value, suddenly they definitely could possibly stay around for a couple of turns. And in that case, their value could be insane, like Cavaldir Raider and Mukla's Champion can just spiral out of control till the other person concedes, because if they don't have any removal, they can't get rid of it, and it's just, these are crazy cards.
Right. That being said, a lot of the craziest cards in Arena that you'll find yourself losing to a lot of times, you're just like, oh, I overvalue that card. So that being said, these cards that are some of the best cards in Arena are opposite to that as well. Or I'm sorry, I can't talk today.
You're good.
A lot of the cards in Arena that are your AKA runaway cards are also some of the most complex in order to pull off at the right time.
You need to know when to play them and how to play them to get the best value out of them. But you
Yeah.
do have to change your mindset when looking at arena cards. If you've been playing a lot of constructed and a lot of ladder, it's not going to go over. You have to change your mind around to valuing cards in arena.
Yeah, and I don't think it's a problem to overvalue playing a weaker minion to get a good discover just because you know your opponent's running out of cards. Because I've gotten down to like 15 health against a 30 health opponent, and I've got like nearly a full hand, and he's got like 3 cards left. And I just play a couple weaker minions to get him to start trading his board, and then he's got top deck wars, and I've got a full hand. So you got to think about yourself sometimes when you're in those transitional moments in the game. Maybe we can shed some light on that next. So Andrew, why don't you talk about kind of how to transition the game?
You're talking about the tempo plays and stuff like that?
Yeah, like when to know when the board state is in such, like given your health and your opponent's health, when it's time to just start ignoring the trading game.
Yeah, I mean, you got to always be thinking, do I have lethal for one? You should be thinking that in constructed also, but I mean...
It's even more important.
Yeah, exactly. Especially when you're getting to that mid game. Sometimes I get so obsessive with trading minions that I'll totally forget, oh wait, I've got a Mind Blast in my hand that'll... Or some tricky play that'll...
turn lethal setup.
Yeah. So now the second question, if you can't kill him this turn, is there a way that you can set yourself up to kill them next turn based off of what you know?
Without dying.
Exactly. Yeah, you don't want to die also.
That's something that I've been really guilty of. It's like, oh, I can kill them next turn, but
sure.
Oh crap, I'm dead.
Sure. Yeah, that's not good. But
I think the rule of thumb is if you're behind, you can make riskier calls because otherwise you're not going to win anyway. So you need to go for those big swing turns. And if you're ahead, then you play very carefully so as not to lose.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And
act like a scared baby.
A scared baby.
Don't be a scared baby unless you're ahead.
I mean, just be cognizant of everything that's going on. Don't get it too obsessive with one thing. You might be freaking out because you don't have any cards in your hand. That's not a killer thing. You might be freaking out because your opponent, just played a piloted shredder. Think about how you can deal with it rather than, oh crap, they just won the game. So thinking about those things I think is huge. And then the other thing is looking for those swing turns. So we talked about AoE cards earlier. You want to use those at the exact right time. So I don't want to overemphasize, but be really strategic about when you say those. If your opponent has one small minion on board, there's not a chance you should be playing, your Flame Strike or something like that. But if they have 2, that's when it starts getting a little trickier. 3 or more, then you definitely want to take care of them. But think about it as you're trading your 1 card for their 2, 3, or 1 card. That's a big deal, So
it also depends on how many cards they have in hand, because I definitely know a strategy is to try and bait out your opponent's removal.
Yeah.
To try and get it out there so that you can then play the cards that you really value and have an answer for their removal. So keep attention to that as well.
Yeah, I've done that before where I play a Yeti trying to bait out a fireball, and then the next turn I'll drop a Sunwalker and the guy just cries. So something like that.
It's like,
or
here,
even,
you can have this card because I really, really want to protect this other one.
Yep, and I'll even use another example. Same scenario, but you're playing against a rogue, right? They have Assassinate, so they can go straight through your Divine Shield minions. So playing something that's strong that doesn't have Divine Shield to eat removal may value your play a little bit differently.
I just want to say I completely disagree with that. The whole fact that Assassinate and things can go through Divine Shield. Playing a Paladin in World of Warcraft, nothing gets through Divine Shield.
Oh.
Like, seriously, Divine Shield removes all anti-buffs and everything. It kills me every time something destroys something that's Divine Shielded. You should have to get through the Divine Shield first.
I had a really salty moment last night because of Divine Shield. You want to hear about it? We'll kind of go off the cuff here.
Say it real quick.
I drafted 2, not 1, but 2 rare cards that were Emperor Cobras because I had terrible alternatives, and I needed 3 drops at that point in the curve.
Wow.
All right, my opponent plays a Tyrion, and I top deck an Ooze with an Emperor Cobra on the field, and I'm playing Mage. So I got really happy. I was like,
You forgot.
goofing around. This is on stream. If you guys are gonna go see it, you can see me just like super salt. So I just attack my Emperor Cobra right into the Tyrion. I'm like, then now I'm gonna play the Ooze. Wait, Tyrion's Divine Shield's gone. What? Poison does not go through Divine Shield.
Yeah, you need to do
It's
damage
because
to the minion.
poison actually has to do physical damage in order to kill it.
Pop
Which
shield first.
I don't know if this is something Blizzard's paying attention to, because when you mouse over cards and you click one or you click and drag it onto the card you're trying to kill, it will give a skull if it will kill it. You know what I mean?
Did it give you a skull?
It gave me a skull over top of Tyrion, and also my Emperor Cobra, even though I had the Divine Shield up. So I was like, maybe this is a glitch. Maybe it's not supposed to be that way. But I was like, okay, so always ping, always trade something low before you kill a Divine Shield with an Emperor Cobra or anything like a Patient Assassin that has poison in its effect. Okay?
Yeah.
So that was my moment last night that I was like really salty. But I ended up winning even though I misplayed super hard. So that was pretty rewarding.
Dang.
But I killed Tyrion in arena and won. So get some. Paladins.
With a little snake and an Ooze.
Yeah.
There you go. That's pretty good.
It was sad, but it worked. Okay, so that being said, let's transition into how to play against specific matchups and the importance of matchups in Arena, and how to play against them. Eve, you wrote down a lot here, right?
Yeah. The thing is that we've covered a lot of what I wrote down already through Andrew's beginning stuff, so it's kind of going over the same thing again. There are obviously classes that play better in Arena than others, because you have more chance of getting class cards and because you have more chance of getting basic cards than any other thing. So those classes that have very good class cards that work well with the basic cards,
and LOE cards, don't forget.
yes, League of Explorers cards are doing very well in Arena. So I actually I know Mage is still good. I know Paladin is still good, and I know Rogue is still good. Is there anything else that's dominating the top of the Arena right now?
Crypt values Warrior a lot higher now that they've changed the algorithm with the League of Explorers, because Anubisath, Sentinel, is that right? Is that the right card?
The one that when it dies, it gives something 3/3?
No. I'm thinking of a different card.
Oh.
Obsidian Destroyer.
That
It's
gives
a
you
class
a
card
1/1.
that appears more often, gives the 1/1, and that's a 7,
Oh, yeah.
7/7.
Okay.
Yeah.
Warrior.
A card that pops out of the cards always.
Yeah,
good.
that card and the Fierce Monkey are so good. Like, Fierce Monkey is probably one of the top 10 best 3-drops you can get in Arena right now. Like, I'm trying to think of other better 3-drops.
Well, I mean,
just can't.
The big thing Warrior needed was, it needed some strong common minions, but it still needs some removal. Bash is a good, start, but with Shield Slam and Brawl both being epics, you don't have a great chance. You've always got to execute, but there's not a ton to be able to remove stuff from the board. So,
right. So, I think Cora was saying on Coin Concede that she drafted a couple monkeys and the Obsidian Destroyer and was able to keep pulling her one rare King's Defender at the right time. So that card gets 2 or 3 attack, and it's got 3 charges. It's pretty powerful. But yeah, Paladin and Mage are kind of my go-to in Arena, but I've been playing a little bit of Rogue, and Rogue seems really good. Warlock is also really great right now. I'm trying to think of the League of Explorer cards that was showing up besides Rafam. Curse card. What was the other one that they got? Dark Peddler?
Yeah.
That's a sick 2-drop.
Well, again, it's a card advantage thing where you get 2 cards, and the fact that you get to choose, it's not like Unstable Portal where that is just one random card that you get. The fact that you get to choose something that could help, especially in Arena when you don't know exactly what you're going to have or what's going to be helpful. It's just a super valuable card.
Yeah. So how do we evaluate playing against them? So we valued where we think these classes are as scoping as being good to play. But I think we kind of glazed over Hunter and Priest as being weaker and Shaman being weaker. Like, just because a class is weaker doesn't mean it can't get, 7+ wins.
Yeah.
It just means that
You
it's
have
a
a
little
really
bit
good luck
different play.
in deck drafting.
Yeah, and
Right.
there's different. We could go through each class and the different play styles you kind of want to go for with each of them, but I don't know that we really can do that. I mean,
Yeah.
Shaman Bloodlust is the card that comes to mind. That makes it strong in Arena. You've got to get some minions on the board, and then you've got that common spell that can really,
I think
close
the important
gap,
thing to know about each class is just what their dangerous moves are, what their dangerous spells are, and then be aware of that around the turn that they're able to cast them.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Yeah, like Mage, around turn 7, you might want to be holding back a couple minions just in case of a complete board wipe and things like that. So whatever class you're against, you're like, okay, these are these danger cards that could completely destroy my board or could completely flip this play state around. So each class that you go up against, have that knowledge and be aware of it as you're playing.
Yeah.
Yep.
I always want to go with Mage because of the strong spell, or Paladin because they've just got so many good cards, and then Warlock because I like not having to worry about card draw with that hero power, and the demon synergy. Usually if I just go with all demons for a Warlock deck, for some reason it works out. So
Floating Watcher is so good in Arena. Oh my word.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Draw a card, get a 6/6.
Yes, please.
All right, I'll just read through a couple other things we saw here. Gotta understand sometimes, like, trading versus pushing for damage. There's that moment in the middle of the game where you kind of like, okay, I've traded all his minions, I'll hit face with my last one. I've traded all his minions, I'll hit face with the last one. That's kind of the typical shtick for getting card advantage and board advantage in Arena. However, when you get to a certain point where your opponent's playing either smaller minions or even large minions, maybe it's best to actually transition to kill the big one, push everything else face.
Mm-hmm.
Kill the big one, push everything else face. Because then, when you're running out of cards, or even running out of your board, your opponent now has to kill your stuff. If he doesn't kill his stuff, he dies.
You do want to put them in a difficult position. You don't want their choices on their turn to be easy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If you can,
Arena is definitely like that.
The more that you play the different classes and the more that you watch, I mean, if you go to Adawicta's YouTube channel, you can find him getting 12 wins with every single deck. So if you want to see what a professional Arena player could do, so the worst case scenario, that's kind of what you want to study to get yourself up to a good place.
Yep. All right, let's move into the community section by starting with some news. So this week, it's not a big thing for budget players, but Activision Blizzard bought MLG, Major League Gaming. So you can look them to use basically some of their resources in order to see Hearthstone, Overwatch, WoW, StarCraft, Heroes of the Storm, and even Diablo franchises get some more love in their esports stuff. So maybe the assets will help us see better Hearthstone events that you guys can be a part of, maybe even locally. So I say that just for the budget players because Blizzard's really trying to push more players in more different areas to get involved in their esports scene.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The other thing is a Reddit user found, I think he actually did a big survey back when TGT released about finding that there's actually what they call and refer to as a pity timer within opening packs.
Or I heard Mercy. I guess it could be
Mercy
either.
timer.
They mean the same
both
thing.
of them the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Eve, what do you think about this, and what is it?
I think it's a great move. I've heard about people discussing it on other podcasts, and people who have a lot of legendaries are like, this is like insulting, and people who don't have a lot of legendaries are like, yes, at least I am absolutely guaranteed by my 40th pack that I'm at least going to get one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I appreciate them putting this in because anyone who's gone to, casinos and gambled realizes that every time you flip
Variance
that coin,
sucks.
you could get bad luck every single time. And there are some of us who have put our hard-earned money into getting a couple packs and get no legendaries. So there's a lot of things they said about this where it keeps track as you buy packs. But if you switch in between two different kinds of packs, like TGT,
it resets the.
Well, it
timer.
doesn't reset, but it keeps it for each one, like separately. So you would have like 20 for each. So you would have to buy 40 of one kind, but it keeps track of the other one. So you're not set back to 0, but you're going to have to stick with one kind to get up to that 40.
I definitely like that better than what I had understood it to be. I thought it reset because if I that means basically, let's say that I'm a free-to-play player getting arena packs, right? I get a TGT pack and then I get this one, and then I've been playing arena a while and I decide I'm going to blow a couple bucks, I'll get 20 packs of all 3 sets. That means that I could essentially get really stinking lucky, quote unquote, with a pity timer and say my 40th or 30th pack is like my first one. So my first card that I open in every pack is an arena, is a legendary or something nuts.
Sure.
That's crazy.
I mean, for the budget player, it's obvious that this is huge because you're guaranteed something. You know, you're not just throwing away your money when you do invest, or if you're solely, living off of the Tavern Brawl packs or arena, you're good. You're gonna get legendaries eventually. You're gonna get epics eventually, and
the epic one is even
the other
better.
thing.
It's like
the
after
epic
10.
one, after 10, there's pretty much a guaranteed epic. So that's something that I've seen a lot when I've been opening packs from arena or from like the I want to say Rumble, but it's not Rumble. Brawl.
Yeah.
From the Brawl games. The important thing to say though is that Blizzard has not come out and verified this. They are not making this an official statement. This is something that
this is
another
purely
person
statistical.
has. There are very, very smart people who have looked over his data and said that it is sound. So we can pretty much say, we stand by this information.
Yep.
But Blizzard is not at any point going to come out and verify it. Probably because if at some point they want to change the way the cards work, they don't have to make.
People are always going to want to min-max it, and so Blizzard's just wise to stay out of it.
Yeah.
But I will say one more thing before we go into checking out emails and iTunes reviews, that this is a promised number after X, right? However, I've seen a lot of people's experience that it's actually more often than what the pity timer will tell you.
Oh.
So, like for instance, if you've opened 40 packs at any time, a lot of people will actually get 2 legendaries out of that 40 packs instead of 1.
Sure.
And that's...
You mean in that end 40 pack, they could get more than 1 legendary?
Yeah, because what really happens is it's always floating between a 3 to 10 percentile that you're going to open a legendary in any given pack, right?
When you think about it, you could get a legendary in every single pack that you
that's the statistics.
Yeah.
There's a chance that could happen.
Yeah.
So it's actually, the odds are in your favor that you'll get more than whatever.
1.
Yeah, you'll get more than 1 for each 40. You will at least get 1 for each 40, but there's a better chance that you'll actually get more than that.
Yeah.
So looking at the pity timer that way, even in epics is more of like a 10. After 10, your 10th pack will always have an epic at bare minimum.
Yeah.
So that being said, you can guarantee, okay, I haven't seen this in a while. I'm gonna get my pity timer's gonna cap here, and I'm gonna get it. Or you could think of it in the other way, that the pity timer is in place, that I'm guaranteed out of 40 packs, I'm going to get 4 epics and I'm going to get 1 legendary. So if I get anything more than that, that's awesome, right? Yeah. So you can say, I've actually started working these statistics out of my favor. And it's working really great. All right, so this week, we do not have any new emails. I'm actually pulling it up just to be safe, and I usually have everything printed. Yeah. So we don't have any new emails. However, I was able to find a really great client that helps us find iTunes reviews from anywhere in the globe and send me the data once a week. And it only costs $5 a month. So I decided that was worth it. So we're going to go with that. So our first review is the only one that we have from United States this week. And it's from Yep, This Is My Review Name, giving us a review. And we really appreciate any and all reviews, and we've said from the outset that if you give us 5 stars, we'll do whatever we can to make sure that we can start reading all the review out on the show if you give us the 5-star. So, Yep gave us a 3-star review and gave us some things that we can work on for the show, and we really appreciate that kind of an impact.
Yeah,
even if you don't give us 5 stars, we really like that. So keep the reviews coming, regardless of how many stars you give. We really do appreciate that, and we respect everyone's opinions equally, and we'll try to do better on anything you may not like about the show.
Absolutely.
The show's not for everyone, and we don't claim it should be. So, but yeah, Andrew, you've had probably the most conversations with Senior Gabriel, and I'm really happy that we were
Absolutely.
able to get his Australia review. So let's go ahead and read out the username, and then where they're from, and the date they gave it, because these are all backlogged. And then Eve, you'll do the next one.
I would be honored. Gabriel, number 16615, says a podcast that delivers on its promise. I've listened to 8 different Hearthstone podcasts, and Velen's Chosen is my favorite. Rob, Andrew, and Eve had a clear idea of where their niche was in helping budget players, and they've implemented that idea consistently and diligently. It's good to see that they've avoided the loss of focus that some other podcasts suffer from. They combine thorough knowledge of the game and genuinely likable personalities into an entertaining and informative show. I look forward to each episode. If you're a budget player looking to improve your rank or just enjoy listening to well-informed discussions of this great game, the Velen's Chosen podcast should be your chosen podcast. Oh, I like that.
That's a
good.
visionary for the ages, man.
Man, that review gave me the warm
Gabriel's our number
fuzzies.
one visionary on Velen's Chosen Patreon page right now.
That's right.
I love this guy.
And he's just a cool guy. I've jumped into some of his games and vice versa, and he's really cool. So
I mean, that is the advantage of jumping into a fairly new Patreon and a fairly new podcast. I mean, if you leave a review, we have the luxury of reading your stuff on the show and interacting with you because we're small and we do it part-time.
Right.
You know, we enjoy it. So, Eve,
So
why
thanks
don't you
for
read
the
the next
feedback.
one?
Sorry, what
Yeah,
was
thank you.
Andrew?
I just said thanks, Gabriel, for the feedback.
Oh, okay.
Always appreciate it.
DF Boson?
Sounds good with me.
From the UK. He gave
October
us
4th.
this review on October 4th. Yeah, loving the podcast. Great content, helpful to players of the game, great chemistry between you all. Great to see a podcast that seems more like a group of friends chatting than something like a business meeting. Keep it up. We
awesome.
do like
Except for
to have
maybe
fun
today.
on the show.
I really appreciate that it comes across that way because it feels that way for us, but sometimes you kind of wonder how it comes across, and I'm glad.
Oh,
that
sure.
Yes, we love all the input. It's good.
We talk often internally about just how blessed we are that we found each other and that we
It's so random how we found each other. Too.
Yeah, DF, the chemistry that you feel listening to it, we definitely feel also, and we always look forward to recording the show and getting to talk about the week and share strategies with each other. It's always a blast. So
Yeah, thank you
I
so much for
agree.
your support, even though it was 2 months late for the thank you.
yeah,
Or
sorry
3
about
months late now.
Right,
October,
from
November,
Norway?
December.
Wow.
Yeah, all right, I'll read the last one.
Okay.
Hakon 56. Awesome podcast, November 30th from Norway. Really enjoyed this podcast. I've been playing Hearthstone since beta, and this podcast motivates me to improve. Thank you so much. I know that those of you that leave iTunes reviews, aka the UK, Norway, and Australia, are not always native English speakers. So I really appreciate this, being someone that's trying to get into Japan right now to teach English. Anybody that puts forth 5 stars or any stars, just try to say something in English to show their support. We really appreciate that.
Yeah, thanks.
Not
It doesn't
hard
automatically translate their review, does it?
No, it does not.
Okay. Yeah, that's impressive.
So I am very impressed with your English skills in this review. So well played. Eve, why don't you let players know how they can get involved with the show and being a visionary?
Well, one of the ways is what we just read out, the iTunes reviews. You can give us constructive criticism if you wish, or let us know what you like about the show, and we'll try to keep doing the best that we can. Share it with your friends if you think it's something that they would like and would help them in their play. Chat with us on Twitter. I always try and reply to anybody who sends me messages on Twitter. Support us on the Patreon, even if it's just a follow. Play Hearthstone with us. Come to the Hangouts.
Play the Dames of Destiny.
Dames of Destiny, yes. Or there's actually a group called the Dads of Destiny. If you are a guy and you would like to join a friendly group on Destiny as well. Request a host to coach you through your Hearthstone plays. Email the
Now
show some
featuring
questions.
Arena.
Yes.
That's right.
Although, disclaimer, not professionals.
Yeah, but we are free, so there's that.
Mhm.
Yeah, and we love answering all of your emails. So email us if you have any questions, or even if you just want to talk to
Topics.
us. Yeah.
All right, Andrew, why don't you let listeners know what they can find the show?
Twitter.com/Valence Podcast. Facebook.com/Valen's Chosen Podcast. Valen's Chosen Podcast @gmail.com. Okay, I'm done. That's as far as I
keep
can go.
going.
Don't quit your day job.
He's making reading this stuff actually interesting.
I figure you got to shake it up each time because I don't know about you guys. Sometimes I'll
It's just
drown
like
out
monotony.
when other podcasts do stuff, but it's important, you know. So you can find us on patreon.com/Valen's Chosen. And our website is valenschosen.com, and that'll forward you to valenschosen.posthaven.com. You can find us on iTunes, RSS, and Stitcher. And don't forget to use our esports hero code for 5,000 free coins. That's $5 of free play, which is Valen's Chosen 15. Rob, hit him with yo stuff, man.
Oh boy. You can find me on Instagram and on Twitter at the same handle @NotRob. You can find me on Facebook if you'd like to look through some photos or ask me to do some design stuff and help you out. I do that on NotRobMedia on Facebook. You can add me on BattleNet, Twick, TWIK number 1198. You can play some Rocket League with me on Steam or Brawlhalla, and I'm really considering getting Rivals of the Aether, which is another Smash Bros. Like pixelated version.
Oh,
and
nice.
that is on Steam at Sir Twick, no spaces. You can find me on Twitch. I've actually been streaming like once, twice a week, maybe. Very irregular schedule. So you can check me out there. I don't do long streams, so that's the benefit of being married. You don't have to stream all day. So you have other fun things you can do besides sit in front of my computer and play Hearthstone to the ages. But if you would like to find me on there, you can get signups on email at NotRobMay on Twitch. Andrew, where can people find you at, bro?
I'm on Twitter at AndrewIsLiving, and you can find some other arena tips on YouTube at BinacaFreak. And now that we kind of talked through so much and it's on my mind, I think I need to throw up some new ones. So you should go check those out, and hopefully I'll get some stuff up in the next week for that. And I'm on BattleNet. Andrew is live number 1973. I just checked my friends list, and there were like 5 requests in there. So
yeah, I got a couple this week too.
And then it's really easy to say, hey, can you jump in my game and give me some advice?
Even if it's just for a spectate quest. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, and that's always helpful, too.
Those are nice. All right,
or if you want to see what we're playing, that's the easy
I remember
way to
when I
spectate.
could never get my spectate quest done because I had no friends.
Oh,
And
was
then
the
I went to
worst.
the hangout,
I
and
remember
suddenly
that.
I had 8 friends.
Yay!
Yeah, and the benefit is add Gabriel if you can. Try to see if you can find him. Send us an email. I'm sure he wouldn't mind because he's on Australia. So if you want to get it in early morning, that's like his late afternoon. So and he's pretty good at the game.
Yeah.
I'm on Twitter at Finnovar, FHINNOVARR. I'm on Twitch as Evemartyn, EVEMARTYN. And on PlayStation 4, where I play Destiny, it is also Evemartyn.
Nice.
I'm going to put PSN next to your Twitch.
Yeah, but like all the different consoles are separated, so it has to be the PS4.
Oh, I did not know
really?
that. Okay.
Oh.
Yes. Xbox is separated from the Xbox One, and the PlayStation 3 is
Wow.
separated from the PlayStation 4. Yeah, they have come to say that when it comes to PvP in Destiny, the resolution is so different that they think that you would have an advantage on your higher end console, and they didn't want to have people complaining that, I lost because I couldn't get the headshot from across the map. So, yeah, all of the different consoles are unfortunately separated from each other.
All right, guys. We appreciate you sticking with us throughout our whole episode. It's been pretty close to keeping it right around an hour, so pretty excited about that. We like to keep our shows nice and tight for you guys to enjoy the rest of your day. So thanks for stopping by the Exodar with us today. We'll see how this goes. And visiting with the Visionaries. So not all who wander into the arena will get slammed. So we'll see you guys next week.
Bye.
See you later.
Take this time to consider your past deeds.
Stop asking questions. You had your chance. Did I miss it?
Visiting Exodar? What?
Right off the cuff. That was awesome.
I was thinking, like, thanks for visioning our vision with the vision of visionaries.
No, too much.
No? Okay. Okay.
You
maybe
almost have an application to apply for V for Vendetta after that one.
not.
I do
V
like
for
the way that
Vendetta
you're
visions Velen's visionaries with a visionary Vel. Dang it.
Oh,
I
wow.
can't think of another one.
Oh, for those listeners sticking into the blooper reel, I love some
Alliteration?
V for Vendetta. No, V for Vendetta. That's my favorite movie of all
That
time.
is a really good movie. I
It's
have
so
seen
good.
it several times. I enjoy it.
When villains of Velen vilify a vision, their vision has been
Vivified.
fallen into villainous villainry.
Voluntarily.
Voluntarily, nice. I like that.
Oh, drop the mic. I'm just gonna hit my microphone so it sounds like I dropped it. There.
That works.
There, okay. Hopefully it's not gonna peak too
Mic drop.
much in the blooper reel.
Oh, right. Okay, then.
Oh man, I'm sweating after that outro.
Wow.
I'm
You really got into
amped.
it.
Let's do some arena and lose again.
Oh no.
Okay, I'm going to stop recording because I have to let the children out of the basement.
Yeah, you do.
I hope you got that.
Don't put that in there.
recording.
No, you can't put that.
No. I would get emails and calls and yeah, no.
I'm gonna keep recording just to disclaimer this if it happened to get into the recording. Eve has to let her children out of the basement in order that they are basically with her sister-in-law so that she can record this and hanging out down there. It's not because she's a terrible mother.